Says, can you comment on MacArthur saying you can bake a cake for a gay wedding? Have you heard this one before?
I have not. No, I have not heard that.
I reached out to Virgil Walker earlier today, and I asked him, would he and Daryl Bernard Harrison be interested in coming on and for them to discuss the topics and issues that's been affecting the Reformed community regarding abuse and the church's silence on it. And he told me basically he has no interest in doing it. His words were, and I quote, I said, "Good morning, brother. I'm sure you're aware of the current issues surrounding John MacArthur and the abuse scandals that have plagued, tainted, and tarnished his ministry. I'd like to invite you and Daryl Bernard Harrison on my broadcast to discuss the topic of abuse within the Reformed community and the silence within our own churches and fear of man, which cripples us from speaking out publicly. Please let me know if you're interested." He responded back and said, "Saiko, I've watched your comments on this issue. I have no plans to engage you on the subject. Take from that decision whatever you will. I continue to wish you all the best in what you do."
Okay. All right.
He acknowledges that he has watched and have seen my comments regarding the issue of Eileen Gray, John MacArthur, and the abuse. He's watched it. He said, quote, "I've watched your comments on this issue." So that gives admission and an acknowledgement that you know what this is about. I respond to the brother. I said, "I'm sure you have." I said, "That's fine. Just thought I extend you the opportunity to explain your silence. I'll take your decision as you stated. Thanks." I said, "Last question. Do you believe John MacArthur was wrong for excommunicating Eileen Gray without following biblical protocol?" He repeated the same statement that he gave to me before.
Okay. All right.
Saiko, I've watched your comments on this issue. I have no plans to engage you on the subject. Take from that decision whatever you will. I'll continue to wish you all the best in whatever you do. And I responded back to him and said, do you believe John MacArthur sinned against Eileen Gray and did not follow biblical protocol when excommunicating a member of a church per Matthew 18:15-17? He responds and says, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on.
Didn't you just say, I've watched your comments on this issue?
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
But then the next breath you say, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
I'm confused, V. I'm confused. You're a smart man. You're a very erudite man. I know you know exactly what this is about. Come on, bro. Said, and I quote, Saiko, I've watched your comments on this issue. What issue, Virgil? I'm glad you asked. I'm sure you're aware of the current issues surrounding John MacArthur and the abuse scandals that have plagued, tainted, and tarnished his ministry. So then why would you say, sir, I have no idea what you're talking about?
Hold up.
The lies. There you go. This bitch. The lies.
Then he says, I don't spend the time you do on John MacArthur. I responded and said, you're not familiar with the Eileen Gray situation at all? Because you just said that you are, quote, you've watched my comments on this issue. So if you watched my comments on this issue, Virgil, then that means you are aware of what's going on. Is my logic and reasoning? Matter of fact, let me ask the logic and reasoning guru himself, Puny Giant, Mr. Puny, Mr. Giant. Did you just hear the transcript that I just read? Is it logical to assume or illogical to conclude that if someone says, I've watched your comments on this issue after I said, I'm sure you're aware of the current issues surrounding John MacArthur and the abuse scandals that have plagued, tainted, and tarnished his ministry, I'd like to invite you and Daryl Bernard Harrison on my broadcast to discuss the topic of abuse within the Reformed community and the silence within our own churches and fear of man, which cripples us from speaking out publicly. Please let me know if you're interested. And you respond back and say, I've watched your comments on this issue. I have no plans to engage you on the subject. Take from that decision whatever you will, brother. Why would you say, I have no idea what you're talking about? I don't spend the time you do on John MacArthur. Then he says, after asking him, you're not familiar with the Eileen Gray situation at all? He says, who? Then he responds and says again, brother, you've got to find other things to do with your time than to follow John MacArthur.
What?
You've got to find other things to do with your time than to follow John MacArthur. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I do what I do. If you want to know the condition of our church, particularly the reform, let's go a little bit further. Black folk who find it safe to talk about the LGBTQ and to talk about egalitarianism and to talk about the woke, but don't want to talk about women being abused under their nose. This is why we have weak men appearing to be strong. This is the same brother that goes on Jason Whitlock's Fearless channel. Either Jason Whitlock need to change his name to Fearless or get people off his channel and off his platform who are not. The brother said, you've got to find other things to do with your time than to follow John MacArthur. Did y'all, it's right here, look, right there. You see that right there? Right there. I don't have to lie. It's right there under the who. So caring for the abused and defenseless isn't worth my time? Is that what you're saying? Truly, as a fellow pastor and minister of the gospel, you can't possibly be serious. Then I cite Matthew 22, verse 39, which Jesus tells us the second greatest commandment is to love our neighbor as ourselves. The second greatest commandment, just below loving God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. But then I also quote Proverbs chapter 31, verse 8 and 9. Open your mouth for the mute, for the rights of all the unfortunate. Open your mouth, judge righteously, and defend the rights of the afflicted and needy. Virgil says you've got to find other things to do with your time than to follow John MacArthur. Said I could say the same thing about you, Virgil. Well, y'all be making videos, you and Daryl, among your white audience about the dangers of CRT, as though that is the main threat. Why talk about CRT if you can't talk about the women that are being abused in our own church? By your own admission, bro, you said you're aware. You're aware of my comments. That you've seen my comments. You said, quote, I've watched your comments on this issue, the issue regarding John MacArthur and the abuse scandal. So you know who Eileen Gray is, bro. Don't play me for stupid. Don't do that. And oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this is the same Virgil Walker that I had on my podcast years ago, 10 plus years ago, when he was a guest and a caller on my podcast under Blog Talk Radio, the His Word His Way podcast, Real Talk Thursdays, shouting me out, bigging me up, giving me my propers, giving me my flowers topside and all that. How my voice is needed in the church, keep standing the wall, brother, and all that kind of stuff. All that. So fellow image bearers can be abused, mistreated, children can be assaulted, sexually molested, aggravated assault, kidnapped, raped, and you don't care. You said, I need to find other things to do with my time than to follow John MacArthur.
That's you on tape.
Of course it has, dear. His voice has surpassed mine. Virgil know where his bread is buttered at. Daryl don't know where his bread is buttered at. I never heard of the dean of social media until Daryl Bernard Harrison got it with Phil Johnson. Phil Johnson puts him on at Grace Community Church, Grace to You or whatever. And he's the dean of social media. What kind of position is that? To keep the Negroes in check? Because some of you white guys, like Phil, don't want to check black folk, so you're going to send your boy to do it? I'm just saying. See, I have nothing, I don't have nothing to lose over here. Just see what I got to say. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, what, I don't know, dear. Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. But when I found that out, like, what? And few of my boys that were graduates of the school, they're like, man, I ain't never heard that title. They never offered that to us when we were there. I bet they did. But I asked the brother as I close, I said, I'm doing what the Lord has called me to do. What have you done to help those abused within the body of Christ, brother? I said the LGBTQIA isn't the only threat facing the church. I said, Julie Royce, are you familiar with her? Are you unfamiliar with her ministry too? I said, if you have any articles or podcasts or blogs related to this subject, I'd be interested to review it. He responds back and says, thanks for reaching out, bro. All the best, of course. And that's how far we go with these people. The cowardice is unreal. His name is Virgil Walker. He's the co-host of the Just Thinking podcast. Need to change it to Just Thinking What I Want to Think podcast. Yeah, they play it safe. They go to the G3 conferences because it's safe to talk about issues that don't affect the black community. That don't affect the church. Issues like abuse, things of that nature. They're not going to talk about it because it's in their camp, and to talk about it, they're not going to get paid. Yeah, that's his way of saying no. That's his way of saying leave me alone. And that's cool. That's cool.
This nigga was clearly lying.
hello. Welcome to the BCV channel. I am your host, Pastor SaikoWoods. Please do the following. Please like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell at the bottom of this video. That way, whenever I go live and post any content for you, the viewer, you'd be one of the first to view it. Also, if you'd like to support this ministry financially, you can do so by first and foremost going down to the bottom of the link here below in the description, and you can support using the donation links there. We do thank you so much for that. Super Chat supporters, you can do that as well if you choose to use the Super Chat option. Just want to let you know that the revenue cycle is it rotates every other month, and so if you send it through Super Chat, we won't receive those gifts at the same time, but we would through the Zelle or through the Cash App option. But if you choose to use Super Chat, we do thank you. Nonetheless, we just want to inform you of that. Also, BCV merchandise. You can support our ministry by going to the BCV store, and you can select items there: hats, hoodies, T-shirts, mugs, things of that nature. You can use that option to support the ministry as well. Love, Life, and Marriage with the Woods. Love, Life, and Marriage with the Woods is the ministry. Myself and my wife, we both co-host that ministry. We do put out videos periodically addressing issues of love, life, and marriage. And so if you like to, and if you haven't yet, shame on you. Shame on you. Repent. But you still have time to make it right. Go over there to the Love, Life, and Marriage channel on YouTube and subscribe to it. Pretty sure you can watch some videos there that you have not seen. But we do thank you and appreciate it nonetheless. YouTube family, thank you so much. Moderators, thank you for holding it down in the chat. Facebook family, good to see all of you there and those who will be joining the live later this evening. Listen, y'all saw the introduction. You heard what the Cape Crusaders said. Corey Minor and also Virgil Walker. These two men are avid supporters of John MacArthur. They do not believe that John MacArthur needs to step down, does not believe that John MacArthur said anything wrong regarding the cake baking scandal. But hey, if they said that he's not wrong, I guess that's all that matters, right? Forget about what the Bible says. Forget about how we are to be people of equal weights and measures. Yeah, people who are to judge impartially instead of partially. We should be judging with fair judgments. We should never make our judgment based on who is who and who is what, but what does the Word of God say? And so here we are again, ladies and gentlemen, a response video, more receipts, more information, more challenges to those who idolize and worship man instead of worship the one who made man, and that is Jesus Christ. And so I want to let you all know that it's not just charismatics. It's not the low-hanging fruit. I keep telling you all that. It's not the low-hanging fruit. It's not the charismatics. It's not the Hindus. It's not the Buddhists. It's not the Roman Catholic Church that has their idols. No. It is Reformed, i.e. Calvinist, i.e. cessationist, i.e. the sola scripturas. You know, we're the ones that pride ourselves in being experts in exegesis. We're the ones that claim to be those who hold up the standard of biblical hermeneutics, and we're the ones that praise the Word of God for what it is, which is the final authority and the ultimate test of all things. Yeah, those kinds of people. And I submit to you tonight, before I even drop another receipt, that was just a warm-up, that I'm going to show you that these men that you all watch, that you all follow, that you all believe are being attacked. You know, Corey is one of the ones. I believe Corey needs to change his name to Corey Osteen. Because for a man to have come out of prison, I've never seen someone be so soft. Who thinks that when someone challenges him, that's an attack. That's an attack. You can't say shut up anymore. You can't say any harsh words because that's unloving. That's ungracious. But what's ungracious and what's unloving is when you lead people astray, when you twist the scriptures, when you intentionally deceive people, when you have people to believe what they heard is not what they've heard. You know, the world calls it gaslighting. The Bible calls it witchcraft. That's what the Bible calls it. And so tonight, I want to continue pretty much where I left off. I want to show you all that the people that you are following, the Virgil Walkers, the Corey Miners, the Justin Peters, the Phil Johnsons, the Mob, the April Chapmans, the Dear Woke Christians, the Ricky Caldwells, the Ricky Gants of the world. These people don't love you, and neither do they love the truth as they claim to. Anytime you have people who cause unnecessary divisions because of their favorite preacher, they're telling you who they follow, and it is not God. They're following man. And so tonight, what I want to do is show you again the hypocrisy, the intentional manipulation of Corey Minor and also Virgil Walker. These men are liars. They're liars. They're liars, they're hypocrites, and they're straight up frauds. They're idolizers. And you want to talk about mark and avoid? These are the people you need to mark and avoid. And by their own words, you will know that. And you'll see that tonight. But first, let's jump into the foundational text for our discussion tonight and for what we're going to be discussing and dealing with. And I want to lay out the foundation of the text. We all know this one. Proverbs chapter 11, verse 1. The Bible says a false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. False balance. False scales. Proverbs chapter 17, verse 15. He who justifies the wicked and he who condemns the righteous, both of them alike are an abomination to the Lord. The NLT says, acquitting the guilty and condemning the innocent, both are detestable to the Lord. Proverbs chapter 28, verse 4. Those who forsake the law praise the wicked, but those who keep the law strive or fight with them. The NLT says to reject the law is to praise the wicked. To obey the law is to fight them. Fight who? The antecedent is the wicked, the worldly, the ungodly. Those who intentionally lead God's people and his sheep and your neighbor astray. You contend with them. You fight against them. You expose them. You rebuke them. That's what we're called to do. And so I want to jump right into this. And Corey Minor and Virgil Walker, there was a video that Corey hosted on his channel. Someone brought it to my attention. I don't follow Corey Minor, but for research purposes, I just went over there and watched it as much as I could. And so the segment that I captured is what I want to present to you tonight. And I believe the video title is Concern for the Church, I believe. Concern for the Church, something to that effect. But Virgil Walker is the guest, and they were discussing and talking about issues and matters of the church. And it's always about the charismatics or about the demon slayers or, you know, again, the low-hanging fruit. The low-hanging fruit. And it should cause us to kind of like pause and wonder, why is it that you want to attack and want to deal and want to expose the obvious, but the stuff that is right here that's under the radar, you want to just ignore that? Again, the low-hanging fruit, ladies and gentlemen, is obvious. It's the stuff that we have high and lofty in our trees, high above us, that we don't want to touch. And I tell you, Corey Minor and Virgil Walker, they're protecting those high and lofty fruits that they want to protect at all costs, even if it means denying common sense and logic. These people claim to love truth, but how they protect John MacArthur shows you that they don't love truth. They love themselves. They love themselves. So you heard the first clip, actually the introductory clip, where the question was asked about, did Virgil Walker here any of the things going on about John MacArthur and the cake thing. That's a lie, and I'll prove that momentarily. But Corey begins his series of questions, if you will, and he begins by saying this.
This is a bit controversial. I've got an answer in response to this, but I want to get you on this. I don't think it's apples apples. I think it's apples and oranges. And I think, as a matter of fact, John MacArthur isn't saying what this person's what they heard other folks saying.
So Corey says that John MacArthur isn't saying what these other folks, and he's talking about me. He's talking about me, but he doesn't have the cashews to mention my name. But I'm mentioning your name, Corey, because I want people to know how much of a fraud and a fake you are. I mean, it's amazing that just two years ago, give or take, this dude was I thought was legit. But how can you and just follow me for a second, y'all. Just bear with me. I'm going somewhere with this. It was brought to my attention that he's now teaching seminary classes online. Let that sink in for a second. He's teaching seminary classes online. Are these seminary classes accredited? I'm just wondering. So these seminary classes that he's teaching on his channel, have you been accredited now? Or I don't know how this goes. I don't know the logistics behind it, but I find it rather interesting. If you're going to follow Corey Minor and let him teach you the Bible, maybe after this live tonight, you may want to pull back and find someone credible. Find someone who truly loves God's word and loves his people and the application of it. But again, Corey said that it's apples and oranges, that what John MacArthur said is not what myself, I, and others like you heard him say. So what should we do, ladies and gentlemen? If I'm misquoting John MacArthur, then I should go to the source itself and let the source itself or himself or herself or themselves tell us exactly what they said, instead of going by what Corey Minor wants us to believe they said or they didn't say.
Is it truly sinful for a Christian business person, for instance, a cake baker, to produce a product for a gay wedding? Is it truly sinful for a Christian business person, for instance, a cake baker, to produce a product for a gay wedding? Is it truly sinful for a Christian business person, for instance, a cake baker, to produce a product for a gay wedding?
No, it's not sinful. No, it's not sinful. No, it's not sinful for a cake maker to make a cake for a gay wedding, for a cake maker to make a cake for a gay wedding, for a cake maker to make a cake for a gay wedding.
Now, am I lying on John MacArthur, or did John MacArthur say what he said? He said no. We already know this, right? But Corey just told us that it's apples and oranges, and that what MacArthur said is not what we heard him say. Let's run that back again, what he said.
Let me ask you this question. This is a bit controversial. I've got an answer in response to this, but I want to get you on this. I don't think it's apples apples. I think it's apples and oranges. And I think, as a matter of fact, John MacArthur isn't saying what this person's what they heard other folks saying.
So we're crazy. we're the crazy ones. So okay, well, the Christian Post, surprisingly, they did an article on this very issue with John MacArthur about the cake. John MacArthur answers: Is it sinful to provide services for a gay wedding? Again, why wasn't the Christian community up in arms over this? I wonder. This was in 2017, July 1st, 2017. California megachurch pastor and author John MacArthur has weighed in on the question of whether or not it's sinful for a Christian baker or florist to provide services for a same-sex wedding. MacArthur, the pastor of the Evangelical Grace Community Church in Sun Valley, California, and president of the Masters University in Newhall and the Masters Seminary in Los Angeles, participated in a panel discussion during Ligonier Ministries 2017 regional conference in Los Angeles on June 9th. During a question and answer session, MacArthur answered 2 theological questions pertaining to homosexuality. One of the questions posed to the panelists asked if it is, quote unquote, truly sinful for a Christian business person to make a product for a same-sex wedding. That's the question. You heard the video. You see the question here. Notice the quote. No, it's not sinful. It's not sinful for a cake maker to make a cake for a gay wedding. And notice, here's the apples and oranges, Corey. Any more than it is sinful for a guy who runs a restaurant to serve dinner to somebody who is gay, sits in a booth and eats the food and goes to the market and buys a loaf of bread and you own the market, end quote. He argued, what the issue is not whether that's sinful, it's whether the federal government can demand that people do certain things which goes against their Christian conscience. You see this foolery? You see this nonsense? You see this bait and switch? You see this intentional manipulation? Corey says, what we heard is not what we heard. But MacArthur said it in the video that it's not sinful. And he heard the question. He heard the question. The question was asked of him. Is it truly sinful for a Christian business person to make a product for a same-sex wedding? And MacArthur said in 2017, no, it is not. But we know in 2014, he said it was sinful. So which one is it, ladies and gentlemen? Which one is it? I'm going to hold to this position that he's made here, because that's the point. But what concerns me is how this goes unchecked by Christians, particularly the Reformed community, the Phil Johnsons, the K-Dubs, the April Chapmans, the Justin Peters, the whole MacArthurite movement, all of them. He says, quote, quoting MacArthur, I actually think that we need to show love to everyone, and particularly we need to do good to all those that are outside the kingdom as well as inside the kingdom as much as possible. A gesture of kindness towards some unregenerate person is in itself not a sin, end quote, he added. However, MacArthur suggested it is plausible for Christians to feel that serving a gay wedding violates their conscience in some way, and argue that they should have the right to act in accordance with their conscience. Notice what I told y'all last time. It is not about your conscience, it's about the canon of Scripture. The canon of Scripture is to inform our conscience. Your conscience and my conscience is only as good as what's informing it. Those are the facts, ladies and gentlemen. So, did we just hear wrong what John MacArthur literally said? Or is Corey trying to gaslight? And this is why he won't cam up. He won't face me or anyone that's going to push back on him, that's going to push back on Virgil. Justin Peters won't do it. None of these cowards will have a live face-to-face debate regarding what MacArthur said. And why are you caping and defending this man when he clearly said it? Out of his own mouth, John MacArthur said this. So, again, who is the person? Who is the one that's mistaken here? Is it those of us who heard John MacArthur in his own words say what he said? Or is it Corey Minor and Virgil Walker and the others that want us to believe what we're hearing is not what we're the ones that's going crazy. Our hearing aid is going off. It's acting up. We're the ones that's doing it. But he continues to ask the question with Virgil. And so I want you to notice how the answer is given. Now, I told you that Virgil is a liar. And I'm going to prove it in just a moment. But again, let's go back to the question.
Says, can you comment on MacArthur saying you can bake a cake for a gay wedding? Have you heard this one before?
I have not. No, I have not heard that.
So he says he hasn't heard it before. He hasn't heard any of this information, any of the news, any of the brouhaha, any of the scandals that's surrounding his idol, John MacArthur. And that's exactly what he is. He is an idol. Virgil's idol is John MacArthur. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to submit to you some receipts to show you that Virgil Walker is a liar. Okay? I don't have to make it up. I don't have to accuse him falsely. I'm accusing him accurately based on the facts. I don't have to make false accusations. I make fact accusations. So, first exhibit is this. You see this right here? Very recent video, ladies and gentlemen. 2 weeks ago, I did the video titled, "What's the Difference?" And Virgil Walker hosts the Just Thinking podcast. He says that he's not aware of any of the stuff regarding John MacArthur and the cake situation. Well, he was tagged in it. I know he received it. And I'll show you by proof and evidence that I know for a fact that Virgil Walker received this. Now, this was in March of 2023. Notice the individuals that I'm tagging. I said, now that Shepherd's Conference 2023 is over, maybe Tom Buck, Owen Strahan, Josh Boyce, Dare Bernard Harrison. Notice Virgil Walker, Justin Peters, Phil Johnson, K-Dub will do a podcast addressing the Hohn Cho situation involving John MacArthur. Surely CRT, wokeism, isn't more important than abused women. Now, this was last year, 2023. He's tagged in it. I know he received it. This was a year ago. This post, same year. This is all during the Shepherd's Conference. Notice Steve Lawson, Justin Peters, Vody Bacham, Phil Johnson, Josh Boyce, Virgil Walker, Dare Bernard Harrison. Notice Dare Bernard Harrison's name is not highlighted. You know why? Why is Dare Bernard Harrison's name no longer highlighted, but the rest of these individuals' names are? You know why, class? Because Dare Bernard Harrison blocked me. But Virgil Walker hadn't blocked me yet. And so I said, these men, these following individuals should see this. Now, Nathaniel Jolly, he's a MacArthurite, but it's ironic that his statement, his tweet, was against those outside of the reform camp. It's always that. It's never in-house. It's always outside. It's always across the other aisle. It's never reformed. It's never Calvinist. It's never the cessationist crowd that needs to be checked as well too. And it's the low-hanging fruit. I said, but these individuals should see this, for these men to knowingly cape, cover John MacArthur's abuse of Eileen Gray, Wendy Guay, and Karen Caldwell is the epitome of cowardice. These men, to this very day, has said nothing regarding any of these scandals, any of these incidents, any of these situations where John MacArthur should have been stepped down. Not one of them. And so again, you see Virgil's name is tagged in there, highlighted. But, newsflash, plot twist, not anymore. Now I'm blocked. I received that earlier this week. You are blocked from following Virgil Walker and viewing Virgil Walker's posts. So now I'm blocked. Prior to this, I wasn't blocked. What am I saying, ladies and gentlemen? I'm saying that he saw my posts. He watched my videos. You heard him say in the earlier clip that he has been following and watching my content, and that I spend too much time following John MacArthur. It's interesting, these people will say that, but if there was an injustice against their family and they would have called the police. They would want the police to continue to seek justice for them if their rights were violated or someone would have harmed their family. They would want the police, they would want law enforcement to pursue justice to make sure that those who perpetrated and broke the law would be faced and receive the justice and they be vindicated. See, that's what vindication is. That's what vindication is, Corey. When you have been accused of something that you didn't do and it was proven that you didn't do it. That's vindication. You're not vindicated, Corey. You were guilty of what you did, stealing millions of dollars, 2.8 million, and still these people have yet to receive their money. Some have died without receiving a dime. But again, Virgil Walker, he's a liar. He saw the videos. He's been following it. I know Corey and the mob, they've been talking about me. I know they have. It's proof that they have. But now, again, I don't want to play the video unless y'all want me to play it again. But you heard him say it. You heard him say that he saw my content. And let me just play a little bit of it in case those of you may not have, you're just joining and just coming in and you're trying to catch up what's being said. So I'm exposing once again, showing that Virgil Walker and Corey Minor, these men, I call them the Cape Crusaders for John MacArthur. If you want me to play the video again of the message, the Facebook Messenger conversation that I had with Virgil Walker and him caping for John MacArthur, I'll do that. You say roll the tape? Okay, well, let's roll it. I reached out to Virgil Walker earlier today, and I asked him, would he and Daryl Bernard Harrison be interested in coming on and for them to discuss the topics and issues that's been affecting the Reformed community regarding abuse and the church's silence on it. And he told me basically he has no interest in doing it. His words were, and I quote, I said, "Good morning, brother. I'm sure you're aware of the current issues surrounding John MacArthur and the abuse scandals that have plagued, tainted, and tarnished his ministry. I'd like to invite you and Daryl Bernard Harrison on my broadcast to discuss the topic of abuse within the Reformed community and the silence within our own churches and fear of man, which cripples us from speaking out publicly. Please let me know if you're interested." He responded back and said, "Saiko, I've watched your comments on this issue. I have no plans to engage you on the subject. Take from that decision whatever you will. I continue to wish you all the best in what you do."
Okay. All right.
He acknowledges that he has watched and have seen my comments regarding the issue of Eileen Gray, John MacArthur, and the abuse. He's watched it. He said, quote, "I've watched your comments on this issue." So that gives admission and an acknowledgement that you know what this is about. I respond to the brother. I said, "I'm sure you have." I said, "That's fine. Just thought I extend you the opportunity to explain your silence. I'll take your decision as you stated. Thanks." I said, "Last question. Do you believe John MacArthur was wrong for excommunicating Eileen Gray without following biblical protocol?" He repeated the same statement that he gave to me before.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Saiko, I've watched your comments on this issue. I have no plans to engage you on the subject. Take from that decision whatever you will. I'll continue to wish you all the best in whatever you do. And I responded back to him and said, now, you heard what he said. I've watched your comments. I've watched your content. I've watched the videos. Just paraphrasing now. He admitted that he watched it. That's the whole point I want y'all to see. But let's continue. Do you believe John MacArthur sinned against Eileen Gray and did not follow biblical protocol when excommunicating a member of a church per Matthew 18, 15 through 17? He responds and says, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Come on, man. I mean, come on, man. Come on.
Didn't you just say, I've watched your comments on this issue? Tell the truth. But then the next breath you say, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
I'm confused, V. I'm confused. You're a smart man. You're a very erudite man. I know you know exactly what this is about. Come on, bro. Said, and I quote, Saiko, I've watched your comments on this issue. What issue, Virgil? I'm glad you asked. I'm sure you're aware of the current issues surrounding John MacArthur and the abuse scandals that have plagued, tainted, and tarnished his ministry. So then why would you say, sir, I have no idea what you're talking about?
Hold up. Hey.
The lies. There you go. This bitch. The lies.
Then he says, I don't spend the time you do on John MacArthur. I responded and said, you're not familiar with the Eileen Gray situation at all? Because you just said that you are, quote, you've watched my comments on this issue. So if you watched my comments on this issue, Virgil, then that means you are aware of what's going on. Is my logic and reasoning? Matter of fact, let me ask the logic and reasoning guru himself, Puny Giant. Mr. Puny, Mr. Giant, did you just hear the transcript that I just read? Is it logical to assume or illogical to conclude that if someone says, I've watched your comments on this issue after I said, I'm sure you're aware of the current issues surrounding John MacArthur and the abuse scandals that have plagued, tainted, and tarnished his ministry, I'd like to invite you and Daryl Bernard Harrison on my broadcast to discuss the topic of abuse within the Reformed community and the silence within our own churches and fear of man, which cripples us from speaking out publicly. Please let me know if you're interested. And you respond back and say, I've watched your comments on this issue. I have no plans to engage you on this subject. Take from that decision whatever you will, brother. Why would you say, I have no idea what you're talking about? I don't spend the time you do on John MacArthur. Then he says, after asking him, you're not familiar with the Eileen Gray situation at all? He says, who? Then he responds and says again, brother, you've got to find other things to do with your time than to follow John MacArthur.
What?
You've got to find other things to do with your time than to follow John MacArthur. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I do what I do. If you want to know the condition of our church, particularly the Reformed, let's go a little bit further. Black folk who find it safe to talk about the LGBTQ and to talk about egalitarianism and to talk about the woke, but don't want to talk about women being abused under their nose. This is why we have weak men appearing to be strong. This is the same brother that goes on Jason Whitlock's Fearless channel. Either Jason Whitlock need to change his name to Fearless or get people off his channel and off his platform who are not. The brother said, you've got to find other things to do with your time than to follow John MacArthur. Did y'all, it's right here, look, right there. You see? Now, I want y'all to see that. Right? Look real good in the screen. That's Virgil Walker. That's Virgil Walker. That's the conversation he and I had. So, for you to say, Virgil, you are not aware of the scandals, of the issues involving John MacArthur, with Eileen Gray, with the cake situation, you are a liar. You just blocked me a couple days ago. Again, how you know somebody like Virgil and Corey are liars? Just continue to let them talk. Yeah, right there. Right there. I don't have to lie. It's right there. Right there under the who. So caring for the abused and defenseless isn't worth my time? Is that what you're saying? Truly, as a fellow pastor and minister of the gospel, you can't possibly be serious. Then I cite Matthew 22, verse 39, which Jesus tells us the second greatest commandment is to love our neighbor as ourselves. The second greatest commandment, just below loving God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. But then I also quote Proverbs chapter 31, verse 8 and 9. Open your mouth for the mute, for the rights of all the unfortunate. Open your mouth, judge righteously, and defend the rights of the afflicted and needy. Virgil says, you've got to find other things to do with your time than to follow John MacArthur. Said, I could say the same thing about you, Virgil. Well, y'all be making videos, you and Daryl, among your white audience about the dangers of CRT, as though that is the main threat. Why talk about CRT if you can't talk about the women that are being abused in our own church? By your own admission, bro, you said you're aware. You're aware of my comments. That you've seen my comments. You said, quote, I've watched your comments on this issue, the issue regarding John MacArthur and the abuse scandal. So you know who Eileen Gray is, bro. Don't play me for stupid. Don't do that. And oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this is the same Virgil Walker that I had on my podcast years ago, 10 plus years ago, when he was a guest and a caller on my podcast on the Blog Talk Radio, the His Word His Way podcast, Real Talk Thursdays, shouting me out, bigging me up, giving me my propers, giving me my flowers topside and all that. How my voice is needed in the church, keep standing the wall, brother, and all that kind of stuff. All that. Until. So fellow image bearers can be abused, mistreated, children can be assaulted, sexually molested, aggravated assault, kidnapped, raped, and you don't care. You said, I need to find other things to do with my time than to follow John MacArthur.
That's you on tape.
Of course it has, dear. His voice has surpassed mine. Virgil know where his bread is buttered at. Daryl don't know where his bread is buttered at. I never heard of the dean of social media until Daryl Bernard Harrison got it with Phil Johnson. Phil Johnson puts him on at Grace Community Church, Grace to You, or whatever. And he's the dean of social media. What kind of position is that? To keep the Negroes in check? Because some of you white guys, like Phil, don't want to check black folk, so you're going to send your boy to do it? I'm just saying. See, I have nothing, I don't have nothing to lose over here. Just see what I got to say. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, what, I don't know, dear. Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. But when I found that out, like, what? And few of my boys that were graduates of the school, they're like, man, I ain't never heard that title. They never offered that to us when we were there. I bet they did. But I asked the brother as I close, I said, I'm doing what the Lord has called me to do. What have you done to help those abused within the body of Christ, brother? I said the LGBTQIA isn't the only threat facing the church. I said, Julie Royce, are you familiar with her? Are you unfamiliar with her ministry too? I said, if you have any articles or podcasts or blogs related to this subject, I'd be interested to review it. He responds back and says, thanks for reaching out, bro. All the best, of course. And that's how far we go with these people. The cowardice is unreal. His name is Virgil Walker. He's the co-host of the Just Thinking podcast. Need to change it to Just Thinking What I Want to Think podcast. Yeah, they play it safe. They go to the G3 conferences because it's safe to talk about issues that don't affect the black community. That don't affect the church. Issues like abuse, things of that nature. They're not going to talk about it because it's in their camp, and to talk about it, they're not going to get paid. Yeah, that's his way of saying no. That's his way of saying leave me alone. And that's cool. That's cool. So that was the clip in response to Virgil Walker, him lying and saying that he was not aware of the cake baking situation or anything. He doesn't follow any of that stuff that goes on regarding John MacArthur. Well, clearly showed that he's a lie. But Corey continues on, showing us that we're the ones that don't know what we're talking about, but actually, I believe it's the other way around. Corey is the one that doesn't know what he's talking about.
Says, can you comment on MacArthur saying you can bake a cake for a gay wedding? Have you heard this one before?
I have not. No, I have not heard that.
He was asked about is it a sin if a Christian baker bakes a cake for a gay wedding? Now, I've answered this question before. I remember someone even asking me this question. Like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I get what you're going. I see where that might be confusing, but I don't think that at all. If I had a bakery and a gay couple comes in and they want to buy a cake, buy 10 of them. Buy as many as you want to. We're gonna serve this cake at a gay wedding. Okay, you do what you want to with it, as long as the check clears. Now, I'm not gonna put 2 men on it. I'm not going to decorate it and it says God loves gays. I'm not going to do that.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, is that even the argument here? Is that even the point? What is Corey talking about? Do you know, ladies and gentlemen? Do any of you know what he's talking about? I don't even believe Corey knows what he's talking about. But again, when you're a Cape Crusader for John MacArthur, you're trying to cover for something that John MacArthur said, but then try to twist it as though he didn't say it to make us think that we're lying about what he said.
But in that sense, that's not the same as affirming or intentionally going out to make a cake for gay people.
So again, what do we do when there is a conflict of statements? What are we to do when there are statements being made that supposedly are presented as it being a misstatement or someone is misstating a person's word or misrepresenting a person's words. I know what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to go to the source. So let's go back to the source.
In light of some recent issues, Christians are asking, should I render services in my business for homosexuals? That question needs to be answered carefully. If you have a gas station, I don't think you mind if a homosexual pumps gas. If you have a grocery store, I don't think you mind if the homosexual comes and shops there. I don't think we're called to sort out the world that way. No matter what you do in business, you're probably in the economy of the world, in the way things are conducted in the world, interacting with all kinds of sinful people all over the place. If you invest your money, if you put your money in a bank, it's pulled together with people whose lives you wouldn't support. But here's the difference. When it comes to providing a service, which is part of the celebration of that sin, I think that's where you draw the line. That word celebration may help you. You could say, I don't mind selling cakes to people who walk in off the street, but when you ask me to bake a cake, specifically to celebrate a homosexual marriage, now you've pushed me into contributing to the celebration. You've pushed me into affirming an event that I cannot affirm. I think that's where you have to draw the line.
So MacArthur said in 2014, as you just saw right here, that it'll be a sin to decorate or to bake a cake for a gay wedding. 2017, he flips. Corey says that's not what John MacArthur said. We just see right here, both videos conflict and contradict what Corey is saying, period. So now what? You would think that Corey would have watched this information, these videos, and would not have tried to defend. But again, Corey had flipped 2 years ago. It's the same Corey Minor that demanded that the Reformed community have John MacArthur step down, and then a few months later, he flips like a chair. And then tells us that what we're hearing is not what we heard, and then tell us also what we've heard John MacArthur say are two totally different things from what Alistair Begg said.
And what John MacArthur said was the same way as if you had a grocery store and a gay couple comes in, someone who you know is gay wants to buy some of your food. What are you going to do? I'm going to take these vegetables back to, we're having a gay club. I don't know if this is necessarily a gay club meeting, but we're having a meeting. And what are you going to do? You're going to sell it to them, because most folks that come in and buy your products are not saved anyway.
Right.
Am I going to make one? And he was not, because John MacArthur was not saying that I'm specifically making it just to show my support for them. That's not what he said. So
then what did he say? We heard what he said, Corey. He was asked the question at the Legionnaire Conference: Is it inherently sinful for a Christian business person, i.e., a cake baker, Christian baker, to bake a cake for a gay wedding? And he said, no, it's not sinful. And then he used the wacky analogy that you use, but he said in 2014, you can't do that, because to do that is the celebration of that sin. And he said that's where you draw the line. So you keep removing and erasing the line. So you're really arguing against John MacArthur. So which John MacArthur are you disagreeing with, Corey? Because he seems to say what we believe in 2014. Now, because of pressure or whatever, maybe even dementia, ain't no telling now, because he's been flip-flopping so much, I don't know what's going on in MacArthur's mind. But nonetheless, you're defending a man who's inconsistent and really consistently inconsistent.
I just wanted to clear that. I've heard that of recent with the whole Alistair Begg stuff, and so two different things, two totally different things.
I want to encourage you all, if you have a chance, I also put this video in my link. Brother Noble Berean, he did a video. Oh man, excellent video. Another indicting video for you to watch on how it shows he posed and asked people who are, some are not Christians, and matter of fact, all of them don't even know who John MacArthur is. They don't know who Alistair Begg is. And so the Noble Berean, he went around and was asking his associates and people that he knew a simple question. Is there a difference between someone baking a cake or advising someone to bake a cake for a gay wedding versus someone bringing a gift to a gay or LGBT wedding? And every last one of them, every last one of them said, no, there's no difference. There's no difference. It's the same thing. Different item, but the same thing. Some were Christians, some were not. But every last one of them that the Noble Berean had asked that question, not one of them gave a different answer. And he didn't prep them. He didn't do any of that. They didn't even know what the question was going to be until he had them on the camera. Now, if these people who don't even know who John MacArthur or Alistair Begg are, and some of these people don't even have a saving relationship with Jesus Christ, and they can say, no, there's no difference. It's still sin. It's still wrong. Then what are you talking about, Corey? What are you talking about, Virgil? Matter of fact, if you notice, Virgil hasn't really responded yet. It's the other Cape Crusader that's doing the talking, Corey Minor. It's the other Cape Crusader that's defending John MacArthur. It's the same guy that was defending John MacArthur 2 years ago. Same one. So how is it two totally different things? It's not. But when you're an idolater, when you are a fanboy, when you are a Cape Crusader for John MacArthur, yeah, you'll make it be something that it isn't. Notice Virgil hasn't said a word. Corey is doing the talking. And you have to ask yourself the question, why is Corey defending John MacArthur so tough? Why is that? Why is Corey defending John MacArthur so tough to where logic is being thrown out the window? What will make a person tell you what you heard is not really what you heard? That's that idolatry for you.
How often do you get attacked? Because
you're talking about me?
Yeah, you. How often do you get attacked because of John MacArthur?
Now notice this. How often do you get attacked for John MacArthur? Y'all hear this? Attacked. Not challenged, not rebuked, not critiqued, not called out. You know, he sounds like the very people that he calls himself exposing on the other side of the aisle, the demon slayers, the hyper charismatics, the word of faithers, or whatever. He sounds just like those people that he does videos about, and their followers or people that support them, like the Paganis or the Isaiah Saldivars and whatever. They're saying that they're being attacked by him, but now he's playing the victim. Virgil is playing the victim, and they're acting like they're being attacked. And so that's the question. How often are you attacked for John MacArthur? Man, please.
Oh gosh, not often. I do enough, enough of my own, saying my own things, carrying my own weight. That the stuff people come at me about is the stuff that I say, and I try not to. I'm not a MacArthur apologist. Like anyone, I love and respect him. In fact, on my wall over here, if you could see it, there's a picture of me in Dr. MacArthur's office, and so I have every respect for him. His ministry has been incredibly beneficial to my life, and the relationship that I've been able to have with him as a result of the role that I have, the position I have, has been tremendous. But I'm not going to say that he can't be wrong about things or get things wrong, or there be things that disappoint me about ministry, as it relates to him. But I don't. No one comes at me about John MacArthur. I don't try to defend.
Did y'all just hear what he just said? No one comes to him about John MacArthur. Let me play that back again. Let's play it back again.
Comes at me about John MacArthur. I don't. No one comes at me about John MacArthur.
Is he lying, or is he lying? Just listen. Answer that question, ladies and gentlemen. Is Virgil lying, or is Virgil lying? We all know he's lying. Virgil, you're lying, bro. You're lying. But when y'all in those little echo chambers and safe spaces, it's easy to put these lies out there because nobody's going to challenge you, and you know that.
I don't try to defend John MacArthur. I don't defend things that I don't say. I spend enough time defending what Virgil says than to defend what others say. And there's a lot of folks who like to pull me into conversations, or what do you think about, or why wouldn't you say, as if I have some responsibility to cape up for someone. I don't.
We can't tell. You have the responsibility to tell the truth. Just like you go hard and was going hard in the paint for CRT and for the LG and against the LGBT, and you was going hard in the paint for social justice, and y'all signed this statement, for social justice. You had no problem. You had no problem, giving a statement about that and doing podcasts about that, Virgil. You would think that when a person is being violated and being abused in the church, that you would definitely open your mouth with the platform that you got. But see, when your circle of influence, and I'm not being prejudiced, but I got to be straight with y'all. When your circle of influence is just mainly and primarily white folk, and your conferences and your gatherings are just mainly with white folk, but you want to act as though you speak for black people, but mainly all you do is dunk on black folk, it makes you look like a sellout. You and Corey are the coons of Christendom. And since I know you're not Democrats, you are the conservatives of Christendom.
I try to take care of me, and that's plenty of trouble on any given day. So I'm doing pretty good there.
Yeah, that's interesting. Now he says that he's not a MacArthur apologist. That's what he said, right? Is that what he said? If you're not a MacArthur apologist, then explain this. You said you have a picture of him on your wall. The picture that you see right there on the right hand side, ladies and gentlemen, that's the picture that he has of John MacArthur on his wall. Now I'm just going to ask y'all this. I don't have. Just me. This just me. I need to look in my man law book. Maybe some of y'all can look in your man law book. I don't have pictures of other men hanging on my wall, unless it's my family, unless it's my sons or my grandkids, or I'm just saying I don't have pictures of other men on my wall. What? Listen, what in the teen magazine, Dear Michael, Kim Fields is going on here? What is going on here? If that ain't idolatry, I don't know what else is, ladies and gentlemen. And mind you, this is the same Virgil Walker that I remember. He was going to the Shepherds Conferences, and he said, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm just 2 rows away from my favorite preachers." And he had a screenshot of John MacArthur, Vody Baucham, Steve Lawson, and he was taking headshots of them from behind, and he was fanning. Can't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I said, "Wow, idolatry." I mean, idolatry, straight up. Now, again, do what you want, but you said, Virgil, you said this. That you're not a MacArthur apologist. You're not caping for him, but you got a picture of the man on your wall. So why would I believe that you would come out publicly and disagree with MacArthur? Matter of fact, I know none of you would disagree with MacArthur if you're gonna have any opportunity to speak at future conferences or sit at the cool kids table. I know how the game is played. I just choose not to play it. But I know how the game is played. But again, explain that. If you're not a MacArthur apologist, then what is this, Virgil? Why you got a picture of the man up on your wall? That's what I want to know. I'm just asking. I'm just asking. You almost was like fainting. You might as well threw a pair of some panties on the platform, because you were fanning that hard when you were just 2 rows behind them. Like, man, bro, I don't know, y'all. That's just me. All kind of man code violations are just wrong with that. But again, let's continue, because Virgil and Corey, or Corey and Virgil, because it's Corey's show, his broadcast, they continue to cape for MacArthur. They continue to act as though what we see is not what we are seeing. And then they say, well, we all say things that are wrong. Now, don't forget that, because this is what Corey said. We all say things that are wrong.
Yeah, I have said before, you're not going to find a man who you respect who at some point in time isn't going to say something wrong or get something wrong. And so that's all you need to know. Just like you yourself, I'm going to say something and get something wrong from time to time. So will Virgil, so will MacArthur, so will Washer, so will whoever you name the person. If his name is not Jesus, he at some point in time is going to get something wrong.
So if he's going to get something wrong, then I have to ask you the question: what did he get wrong, Corey? What did he get wrong, Corey? What did he get wrong? Because why say that? We all know we say things that are wrong, and when we say it, then we need to make it right. We need to correct it. We need to amend it. We need to remedy it, right? So if we all say things and get things wrong, then what did John MacArthur say wrong? And if he didn't say anything wrong, why do you feel the need to comment? See, it's those statements that he makes, that you make, Corey, that causes you just to dig a deeper hole of hypocrisy for yourself. Because if he didn't say anything wrong and you believe he didn't, then why go this hard for defending him? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. But if that wasn't bad enough, then you would think he would just stop there. But no. The Bible says a fool does not delight in understanding, but only in revealing his or her own mind. And Corey is definitely doing that, especially when he goes down this litany of examples showing how people in the Bible, not my words, how people in the Bible got it wrong.
We see Peter getting something wrong, and Paul confronts him. Does that mean Peter is to be avoided forever? No.
So Peter got it. You said Peter got it wrong. What did Peter get wrong that we are telling people to mark and avoid him? Ladies and gentlemen, you probably heard this term, this logic. It's called a non sequitur. A non sequitur. A non sequitur is something that is stated that has nothing to do, makes no logical sense with what is being said. None. It's a non sequitur. It's like you're trying to fit it into something that doesn't fit. A square peg into a round hole. You don't, it doesn't fit. But a person that is a non sequiturist, they try to make stuff fit, make logic fit that is illogical. Like, bro, what are you talking about? We know that Peter sinned before. Nobody is telling people to mark and avoid Peter. That's a non sequitur. And not only that, it's a straw man. I mean, the statement, it's a self-defeating statement. Because nobody is arguing that. But see, what y'all see what Corey's doing? What Corey's doing, he is trying to show you and I that we're the ones that's tripping. That we all get things wrong. We all make mistakes. We all, I mean, even Peter, got it wrong. Even Abraham and Apollos, got it wrong. Yeah. I'm not making this stuff up. Excuse me. I'm not making this stuff up. He says that these men got it wrong. Got it wrong. That they messed up. They've We're not perfect. And so by talking about MacArthur, we need to compare what MacArthur did to what the apostles did, what the early church did, what the prophets of God did. Because, hey, they're the standard, right? They're the standard.
As a matter of fact, we see Apollos, we don't know what he got wrong, but he was getting something wrong. Priscilla and Aquila. They go and they
I was pulling out my handy dandy. I was like, I'm right there with them. I'm having a senior moment as well. How come the name Aquila and Priscilla is not coming up? You know?
I don't know. I don't know, but thank the chat got me. Dutch, thank you. Joshua, thank you. You guys, thank you. Jay, thank you. We don't know what Apollos was teaching, but after that he goes on to be beneficial. So whatever he was teaching something in error, and came back, and so it can happen.
Notice what this man is saying. He said that Apollos was teaching in error, okay? That Apollos got it wrong. Well, let's see if Apollos got it wrong. Acts chapter 18, verse 24 to 28. Now a Jew named Apollos, an Alexandrian by birth, an eloquent man, came to Ephesus, and he was mighty in the scripture. Do you see this? He was mighty in the scriptures. This man, Apollos, had been instructed in the way of the Lord. Had been instructed in the way of the Lord. So far, doesn't sound like this man is in error. The Bible says that he was mighty in the scriptures. The NLT says, meanwhile, a Jew named Apollos, an eloquent speaker who knew the scriptures well. Do y'all see that? Mighty in the scriptures, knew the scriptures well. This man had been instructed in the way of the Lord. He had been taught the way of the Lord, and he taught others about Jesus with an enthusiastic spirit and with accuracy. He was speaking and teaching accurately. Is accurately and erroneously the same thing? Is that the same thing? Is that synonymous? I'm just asking y'all. I mean, am I making it up, or do I need to go to Corey's seminary class? I'm just asking. I'm trying to see something. So far, verse 24 and 25 make it clear. We can just stop right there, but I'm not. The Bible says that this man was mighty in the scriptures. He knew the scriptures. He taught others about Jesus with accuracy. Is that what it says? Verse 25? Teaching accurately the things concerning Jesus. Notice, being acquainted only about the baptism of John. He only knew about John's baptism. Does that make him in error? Does that make this man in error? Does that make him get it wrong? I'm asking y'all. This is why this pisses me off and angers me to no end. Because see, Corey is no different than these false teachers that twist the scriptures and get away with it. But since he's so nice and he's not bombastic like I am and loud like I am, he gets a pass. Virgil gets a pass. The text says clearly that Apollos knew the scriptures. He taught it accurately. He taught others, but he was only familiar. He was only familiar about John's baptism. What was John's baptism? Repentance. Repentance. Turning from your sins before you become baptized. He was only familiar with that, but he taught what he knew accurately. My goodness. Verse 26. He began to speak out boldly in the synagogue. He began to speak out boldly in the synagogue. But when Priscilla and Aquila heard him, they took him aside and explained to him the way of God. Notice, more accurately. Do you see the superlative? More accurately. They didn't say that he was teaching in error. He was teaching and pushing and promoting heresy. No, they said, hey, you may not know about this, but here's what else you need to know. Here's what else you need to know and need to learn. They said, the text says they took him aside. They took him aside privately. The NLT says, when Priscilla and Aquila heard him preaching boldly in the synagogue, they took him aside and explained the way of God even more accurately. Verse 27, and he wanted to go across to Achaia. The brethren encouraged him and wrote to the disciples to welcome him. And he had arrived. He greatly helped those who had believed through grace. Apollos had been thinking about going to Achaia, NLT says, and the brothers and sisters in Ephesus encouraged him to go. They wrote to the believers in Achaia. In other words, he had the affirmation. He had letters of affirmation, letters of confirmation from the church. They wrote to the believers in Achaia, asking them to welcome him. When he arrived there, he proved to be of great benefit to those who, by God's grace, had believed. He refuted, verse 28, for he powerfully refuted the Jews in public, demonstrating by the scriptures that Jesus was the Christ. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you a simple question. What the heck is Corey Minor talking about? Show me anywhere in the text that Luke records Apollos getting it wrong. The Bible says that he taught the scripture. He was mighty in the scriptures. He taught the way of God accurately. He was only familiar with John's baptism. He was preaching the gospel. He was preaching the doctrine of repentance, but there was more. He had to learn more. It's like a cake. You stacking up on top of layers. It's still cake. But if you're like me, if I can get a 3-layer cake of my German chocolate cake that my wife makes so good, better than anybody else I know, hint, hint, versus a one layer pan cake, give me the 3. Give me the 3-layer. That's all it was. Apollos was teaching the way of God accurately. Priscilla and Aquila added 2 layers on there. Now he's teaching it more accurately. The text didn't say he got it wrong. The text didn't say that he taught in error. But this is the kind of stuff that goes unchecked. Virgil didn't check him. Nobody in the comments I saw corrected them. And Corey been saying this for a minute. He's been saying this for a minute. So not only did he say Apollos gets it wrong, not only did he say Apollos gets it wrong, but then he says Abe gets it wrong. Abraham gets it wrong.
Abraham didn't believe until Genesis 15, and then still told people that twice that Sarah was his sister.
Lord have mercy. Genesis chapter 12. Genesis chapter 12. Abraham got it wrong, huh, Corey? Okay, let's see. Let's see if Abraham got it wrong. Let's see if he didn't believe until Genesis 15. I'm in Genesis 12. Okay, we're gonna let the text do the talking because it seems like Corey done enough talking. Listen, Corey, this ain't your trial where you were trying to talk yourself out of going to prison, bro. And even a judge didn't believe what you had to say. You was trying to talk your way out of going to prison. No, bro. No. This is the Bible here, bro. We got people up here that are Bible readers. You ain't about to piss on us and call it rain or lemonade, dog. Or lemonade. And technically, okay, yeah. Sarah and Abraham, they were technically related, but he married her. But he lied out of fear. But technically, yeah, they were brothers and sisters. Technically. But let's just stick to the fact that you said, Corey, that Abraham didn't believe. You said Abraham didn't believe until Genesis 15. Let's run your words back again, just for the sake of context and clarity.
Abraham didn't believe until Genesis 15, and then still told people that twice that Sarah was his sister.
Abraham didn't believe until Genesis 15. Genesis 12. I think 12 comes before 15, right? even though we know there's no numbers in the original languages, in the Hebrew or Greek Bible. We know that. But just for the sake of reference. 12 comes before 15. So Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. Now the Lord said to Abram, go forth from your country and from your relatives and from your father's house to the land which I will show you. And I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. And I will bless those who bless you, and the one who curses you, I will curse. And in you, all the families of the earth will be blessed. Verse 4. So Abram went forth as the Lord had spoken to him. I'm going to read that again. So Abraham went forth as the Lord had spoken to him. Let's go to the book of faith, the hall of faith. We all know it. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 8. By faith, Abraham, when he was called, obeyed. How did he obey? By going out to a place which he was to receive for an inheritance, and he went out not knowing where he was going. So his obedience is an element and an attestation of faith. The text says right there, the writer of Hebrews says, by faith. Faith is believing. Ain't that what the text says? Ain't that what Hebrews 11:1 says right there? Now, faith is the assurance or the substance of things hoped for, the evidence or conviction of things not seen. Ain't that what the text says? So when did he believe? My Bible says, by faith, Abraham, when he was called, obeyed. And how was his faith seen and evidence? By going out to a place which he was to receive for an inheritance, and he went out not knowing where he was going. Verse 9, by faith, he lived as an alien in the land of promise, as in a foreign land, dwelling in tents with Isaac and Jacob, fellow heirs of the same promise, for he was looking for the city which has his foundations, whose architect and builder is God. My Bible says by faith, he believed God. He believed God. Before, Corey, Genesis 15. He believed God in Genesis 12. That's what my Bible says. But you know what? If you're saying that you know, a person like Abraham didn't believe until Genesis 15, then what do we do? What do we do with Genesis 6 with Noah? Genesis chapter 6, verse 13. Then God said to Noah, when did Noah become a believer? Let's see. Then God said to Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence because of them, and behold, I am about to destroy them with the earth. Make for yourself an ark of gopher wood. You shall make the ark with rooms, and shall cover it inside and out with pitch. Verse 15. This is how you shall make it, Noah. The length of the ark, 300 cubits. Its breadth, 50 cubits. And its height, 30 cubits. NLT says, make the boat 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. Leave an 18-inch opening below the roof all the way around the boat. Put the door on the side and build 3 decks inside the boat, lower, middle, and upper. Verse 17. Behold, or look, I'm about to cover the earth with a flood that will destroy everything living that breathes. Or every living thing that breathes. Everything on earth will die. But, verse 18, I will establish, or I will confirm my covenant with you. So enter the boat, or enter the ark, you and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you. And bring and of every living thing of all flesh you shall bring 2 of every kind into the ark to keep them alive with you. They shall be male and female. No transgender animals, huh? Verse 20. Of the birds after their kind, and of the animals after their kind, of every creeping thing of the ground after its kind, 2 of every kind will come to you to keep them alive. As for you, verse 21, take for yourself some of all food which is edible, and gather it to yourself. And it shall be for food for you and for them. Verse 22. When did Abram believe? When would we consider Abram to be a man of faith? Verse 22 says, thus Noah did all that God had commanded him, so he did. So Noah did everything exactly as God had commanded him. Yeah, Corey. The writer of Hebrews says, by faith, Noah, being warned by God about things not yet seen, in reverence, prepared an ark for the salvation of his household, by which he condemned the world and became an heir of the righteousness which is according to faith. By his faith, Noah condemned the rest of the world, and he received the righteousness that comes by faith. I'm just wondering, when was Noah and Abram saved, Corey? You said they didn't believe. You said Abram didn't believe until Genesis 15. That ain't what my Bible says. He believed when he left and did what God told him to do and went to a land that he knew he was going. That's when he believed. Noah believed when he started putting those plans together. That's when Noah believed. Matthew 7:24. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them. Do you see that? The writer James says, faith without works is dead. We know that. He says, everyone who hears these words of mine. Anyone who listens to my teaching and follows it is wise. It's like a person who builds a house on solid rock. Everyone who hears, not just hears audibly, but hears in the sense of paying attention to act or to respond in obedience. Everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them may be compared to a wise man who built his house upon the rock. John 5:24. Truly, truly, I say to you, he who hears my word and believes in me, or believes him, who sent me, has eternal life. Belief has to be backed up with behavior. You don't just believe and don't behave in a godly way, in a godly fashion, in a godly manner. No. He says, he who hears my word and believes him who sent me has eternal life, and does not come into judgment, but has passed out of death into life. Yes, Corey did say that no one was truly saved in the Old Testament. That ain't what my Bible says. That's what they call Old Testament saints, by faith. We're saved by faith. How we know our faith is genuine? How do we know our faith is authentic? By our actions, by our behavior. But yeah, he's the one that said it, dear. Yeah, he's the one. Yes, he's the one that said that. But let's go on. Are y'all all right? John 8:47. He who is of God hears the words of God. He who is of God, he who belongs to God, listens gladly to the words of God. And again, not listening for the sake of this listening, but listening for the sake and purpose of living it out. John 9:31. We know that God does not hear sinners. But if anyone is God-fearing and does his will, he hears him. We know that God doesn't listen to sinners, but he is ready to hear those who worship him and do his will. Does his will. Again, don't tell me that you and I are devoted to Christ, but we do nothing to show our devotion as evidence of our love for Christ. Revelation chapter 1, verse 3. Blessed, this is Jesus. Blessed is he who reads, and blessed is he who reads, and those who hear the words of the prophecy and heed the things which are written in it. Blessed is he who reads, who hears, and takes heed, who does it. NLT says again, God blesses the one who reads the words of this prophecy to the church, and he blesses all who listen to its message and obey what it says. Obey what it says. Yeah. Obedience, Corey. Obedience is what God is after, not just what comes out of our mouth orally. But we thought that, okay, yeah, he's tripping about he's tripping about Peter, he's tripping about Apollos, he's tripping about Abraham. But these next few clips, I'm going to play them in succession, come back on the other side. But then he has the temerity and the audacity to talk about Paul getting it wrong. Yes, he said Paul was wrong about Barnabas.
I made this statement and people just lost their mind. Listen, Paul didn't sin. Let me say it again clearly. Paul didn't sin, but Paul's judgment about...
Let me go back one more time. Paul and Barnabas gets into an argument, right? Paul basically tells Barnabas, no, he's not coming with us. Barnabas says, no, John Mark is coming with us. Corey tells his listeners that Paul was wrong about John Mark to Barnabas. So let's hear the rest of what he says, because again, this is Corey Minor. This is the one who knows the Hebrew and the Greek. And so if he knows this, then surely he is able to tell us what we don't know, right? Well, let's see. Here we go.
I made this statement and people just lost their mind. Listen, Paul didn't sin. Let me say it again clearly. Paul didn't sin, but Paul's judgment about about Luke was not correct. He thought that he would not be used for the ministry. Immediately after he makes that statement, Barnabas and Luke go off, and they are very useful. We have a book, 2 books actually, because of Luke. And then Paul calls for him back. I didn't say he sinned, but so you can be wrong. You can have error. Paul himself says that he struggles, that he has his struggle. What does it mean in Acts 15:39 when it says Paul and Barnabas sharply argued? That is their dispute over John Mark. And in this case, Paul was wrong.
How, Sway?
Paul wrote almost half of the New Testament. Paul was not correct. I'm not saying that he sinned. It's not a sin, but he was incorrect about John Mark, who we have a gospel because of him. And then he says, bring him to me. This is at Paul's deathbed.
And there arose such a sharp disagreement that they separated from one another, and Barnabas took Mark with him and sailed away to Cyprus. So sometimes, unfortunately, trust that have been compromised or trust that has been broken due to preferences. I mean, again, we can't say that there are reasons for holding to their view or their preference is sinful or wrong, because number one, the text doesn't say that. But these are legitimate reasons why both decided to respond the way that they responded regarding one individual, John Mark. Paul was right to have the conviction that he had because a trust had been broken, a trust or a confidence had been violated. And so Paul in that time did not want to take along John Mark. That was it for him. But that doesn't mean that Barnabas was wrong for wanting to take John Mark with him. Neither men were wrong. Neither men sinned in what they wanted. What makes it sin is how we respond when we don't get what we want. So all we have in the text is that it was a sharp disagreement. In other words, they got into an argument. The text doesn't say what kind of argument it was in the sense that was it a sin. The text does say this. It was a sharp disagreement to the point to where they had to part company. That's what we see in the text. And we need to let the text say what the text says. Now, Acts chapter 15. Let's read the story. After some days, Paul said to Barnabas, "Let us return and visit the brethren in every city in which we proclaim the word of the Lord and see how they are." Barnabas wanted to take John, also called Mark, along with them also, but Paul kept insisting that they should not take him along, who had deserted them in Pamphylia and had not gone with them to the work. And there occurred such a sharp disagreement. The NLT says their disagreement was so sharp that they separated from one another. And Barnabas took Mark with him and sailed away to Cyprus. But Paul chose Silas and left, being committed by the brethren to the grace of the Lord. And he was traveling through Syria and Cilicia, strengthening the churches. Where do we see anywhere in the text that Paul was wrong? Where? And this is a very serious charge, ladies and gentlemen. Corey is charging the Apostle Paul with sin. I know he said that he's not, but I'm going to show you in the text, based on the grammar and word construction, that the word wrong means sin. Now, interestingly, there's different Greek words for the word wrong. There's several in the Old Testament and several in the New. You have different Greek words for the word wrong. You have adikeo. You also have kakos. Kakos is the word, I believe, based on the definition and the context, that we can use this verse in John chapter 18, verse 23, Jesus himself, when he is standing before the Jewish leaders prior to him being crucified, and he's being interrogated. He's being interrogated. Let's start with verse 20. Well, let's start verse 20, verse 19. The high priest then questioned Jesus about his disciples and about his teaching. Jesus answered him, "I have spoken openly to the world. I have always taught in synagogues and in the temple, where all the Jews come together, and I spoke nothing in secret. Why do you question me? Why do you question me? Why are you asking me this question? Ask those who heard me. They know what I said." When he had said this, one of the officers standing nearby struck Jesus, saying, "Is that the way you answer the high priest?" Verse 23, right here. Jesus answered him, "If I have spoken wrongly," the word here wrongly is kakos, and it means to be inaccurate, to speak inaccurately. To speak inaccurately, or with the possibility of implying reprehensible speech. The word kakos means to speak inaccurately or incorrectly. And Jesus is saying, if I have spoken wrong, if I said something inaccurate, then testify of the inaccuracy. Are y'all following me? He says, if I'm wrong, if I'm speaking in error, speaking inaccurately, then prove it. But if not, then what? Why did you strike me? Why did you hit me? Why did you assault me? This is the word that's used here. Corey is accusing the Apostle Paul of speaking inaccurately and does not have a text to prove such inaccuracy. That's what makes it serious. You're accusing the Apostle Paul of wrong. The Bible says all wrongdoing is sin. In fact, Lunita uses this same verse here. It means to pertain to being incorrect or inaccurate, with the possible implication of also being reprehensible. Do y'all see that? So I don't have to make any of this stuff up. But this is what happens when you think you know more than what you know. I mean, my goodness, this is the same cat that said dead don't mean dead when it comes to the spiritual condition of man. Dead don't mean dead, because Corey is a free gracer. Yeah, he's a free gracer. But now, does this make sense, y'all? Where in the text does it show that Where does it show that Apollos was wrong? Where does it show that Abram was wrong? I'm talking about in defense of, because they're defending John MacArthur. They're defending John MacArthur. Where does it show that Apollos was wrong? Where does it show Abram was wrong? Noah was wrong. Paul was wrong. And him and Virgil trying to defend their idol, John MacArthur. Answer, it doesn't. It doesn't. But he continues and gets into the victim mentality and saying stuff that has nothing to do with the conversation.
I don't like when folks say, because you like this person, you got to impugn this person forever. You got to throw him away. But I've got to dislike this person as much as you dislike him. I'm not
right.
Who's saying that? I mean, well, I know you rock with the mob. I know that basically anybody that likes me or anybody that defends me, they're in the crosshairs of the mob and of those who ride and die with MacArthur. But nobody wants to pull up and cam up. So what does that say about you? What does that say about your stance on truth? Y'all are quick to go after Pagani and Saldivar and Marcus Rogers and all of these people. Again, the low-hanging fruit folk, but you got your own idol that you cover and cape for, and when you're challenged and called out for it, you tuck tail and run. Amazing to me. Absolutely amazing. So I want to go back into a little bit of history, if you don't mind. Because it's interesting that, and I mentioned it earlier, what happened to Corey, y'all? What happened to Corey? What happened to where the Corey Minor of 2022, is not the same Corey Minor in 2023 and 2024. But I want us to go back a little bit. Let's go back into some history, and let's bring ourselves back up to where we are today. Because again, I don't want people thinking that I'm making any of this stuff up. I want you to hear Mr. Minor in your own words. For some of y'all, this will be a review. For some of y'all, it's going to be a revelation. But let's go.
What we going to do right here is go back, way back into time.
If John MacArthur knew that the man was hurting her and the children, you got to go. Now, I get that you want marriages to last, but there are some people that forfeit that right and that covenant. There are some. Now, you mean to tell me, let's say she's got 5 kids. I don't know how many kids she has, but let's say she had 5 kids. Mm-hmm. And she's afraid of them, and she's looking for some help. He kills one of them. Goes.
Well, he almost. Well, he was planning on trying to do that in the.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that part.
Mm-hmm,
I heard that part.
Yep.
But let's just say he kills one of them.
Right.
He kills one of them. He gets off in court. Weren't able to prove it, and he's got her terrified. Would Grace Community Church say, listen, we want to counsel you some more and to honor this marriage? Is that what you would say? Because at some point in time, you gotta say, well, the lady's life and the children's lives are in danger. She did her job as a parent. He didn't. And then you failed. So at what point would you say, and what she didn't file for divorce, she was just separated.
Separated,
for the church to help.
And that's what she did. Yep.
She came looking for the church to help so that he can be a better man, a better husband.
Right.
She didn't file for divorce. She didn't go to the cops, but then you all failed her.
Right.
Okay. I'm really interested to hear, because I know people on his side, his team have heard about it.
Same here.
And they're going to be, coming up with their defense. I know the Bible Thumping Wingnut even said yesterday that he's going to be responding in a day or two. Okay, I want to hear.
You're going to be responding to mine now. You're going to be responding to my post. My video. Yeah.
He is.
Mm-hmm.
He is. And so I want to just, at least for me, I'm gonna wait a day or so. But how I feel now tells me you need to go ahead and step back. You had a good run. Might be time to go ahead and call it a day, because you failed in one of your most basic criteria.
Yeah.
You're supposed to protect your people.
Right.
And you didn't. Matter of fact, not only did you protect her, not only did you fail to protect her.
You kicked her out.
You put her out.
Yeah.
Put her and the children out.
And the babies. Yeah.
And I know that if there are these letters that are going out with the church's name, let's just be honest. Let's be clear.
Yep.
If the church's name is on it, that's your name.
Exactly. And ain't nothing moving. Ain't nothing. I know for a fact, ain't nothing moving at Grace Church without MacArthur approving it.
Nothing. Yeah.
At Grace Church without MacArthur approving it.
Nothing.
He's made that clear. I've heard him say that himself.
The style of worship, the sanctuary, praise, all of that.
Yeah, I've heard him say that himself.
The style of worship, the sanctuary, praise, all of that. And that's fine. John MacArthur is not the bad guy, the boogeyman, the wrong guy. He is not. He's not. And you guys, I think many of you all are going to miss the boat and miss the blessing because you want to go this route. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm wrong for showing grace.
Showing grace. So show grace to a man that puts abused women, children out. Puts a man who stands up for abuse victims and their children out. But hey, what do you see? Flip-flopping, right? But again, it makes me ask the question. It makes me ask the simple question, what changed? What happened to this Corey Minor? Y'all remember this one? Do y'all remember this one? I'm asking every Reformed believer on YouTube, demanding that John MacArthur step down. You remember that? You know, this is why when people make these kinds of statements and we don't hold them to what they say and it goes unchecked, people will act like you just making this stuff up. No, I'm not making this stuff up. This is what he said right here. These are your words, Mr. Minor. This is your chat. That's Smart Christians channel. I'm asking that every Reformed believer on YouTube join me in demanding that John MacArthur steps down. But then he says, he changed his mind. Yeah, why? What were the factors that changed your mind? Was it something that's true that will cause all of us? Because why leave us in the dark if you now have the light of the truth that will vindicate John MacArthur? What would cause you to flip and change and to now say that John MacArthur doesn't need to step down, that John MacArthur, we all get things wrong and all this other kind of stuff. And again, it happened when as soon as he flipped, that's when Justin Peters comes on. That's when he's connected with Virgil Walker. That's when the mob now comes back on his channel and everybody's all good and kumbaya and all that kind of stuff. Now he's with T-Got and sharing and watching T-Got's videos and liking his content and all that. Slandering and attacking those who follow me in my ministry, of those that support me, and attacks me and makes videos, and he likes it. Makes you wonder. So you have these individuals, you have these people. Corey's not by himself. You have these people that, they cape and cover and make excuses for John MacArthur. Again, I'm just going back in history a little bit with y'all. This is 2018. It was all good when I was supporting people, like Virgil and Daryl and them, right? 2018. Promoting their ministry, promoting their content, telling people to listen to their podcast. Yeah. 2018, July 11th. Please listen, Just Thinking Podcast. Yeah. Some good food right here for my brother, Virgil Walker. Enjoy. Again, posted the link for people to watch him teach a lesson on counterculture. You see these individuals, right? You got Virgil, Jason Whitaker, Dear Woke Christian, got K-Dub, and you know what that is at the bottom, right? Miss April Chapman. It was wonderful seeing all these amazing Christian YouTube influencers. Yeah. Christian Coon YouTube influencers. See, when you're covering for folk and particularly covering for John MacArthur, you're cooning for him. It's easy to talk about the black community and talk about the black church not doing this, not doing that, but then throw the black community under the bus because you get the cool kid seats and you get to speak at these conferences and get the promotions and the likes and the subscriptions. Yeah. Game recognizes the game. Y'all not fooling nobody, bro. Virgil and April. Again, Virgil and Jason. K-Dub. Yeah, I don't. Now, this is his church where he goes. I'm not knocking. I mean, listen, the body of Christ is many tribes, peoples, tongues, and nations. Not knocking that. But it makes me wonder when you constantly want to talk about black folk and act as though it's the black community that has the problem. But when do you have those barbershop style conversations in the hood? When do you go to those quote unquote environments and context and really get it in, Virgil? Just asking. Just asking. Is him speaking and teaching at his fellowship? I don't see any of us in there. Just saying. And the reason why I say this is because I know Virgil's testimony. I know he came from the charismatic community, charismatic church. I know he came from Oklahoma. I got it. I remember he was on my podcast years ago. So I get it. But where's the balance? Where's the balance? I'm not going to change who I am. I'm not going to lose who I am because I'm around white folk. And I'm not going to let black folk change who I am either. What you see is what you get. But I'm like Paul. I got love for my brethren according to the flesh. And if all I see are my white brothers and sisters, and I don't see them reaching out, but they think they got me as a token, but they're not doing anything to help my people and understanding that it ain't just about my thinking, but we grow in community, then what does that say? Just saying. Just saying. Excuse me. Now, of course, you're going to always have people that will, again, defend and cape. They'll cape for the capers. Jerome Dabney. Y'all remember Jerome Dabney when I did the to bake or not to bake a few days ago. He says, my video, quoting about my video, this was a reach because of your dislike for J Mac. Amazing. I don't like John MacArthur because I'm calling out what he's doing publicly. Okay. This was a reach because of your dislike of John MacArthur. You acted as though he's clarifying because of you, but when you look, and he's now referring to, I think biblically, you acted as though he's clarifying because of you, but when you look, not being disrespectful, but not a lot has seen or heard you talking about this. But the other guy, Caleb, has 20 to 30,000 views with a bigger audience. Who cares? He is definitely not making a statement because of you. Well, why would he be making the statement? Why wouldn't Justin Peters and John MacArthur and Phil Johnson not make the statement? Because remember that Christian Post article was in 2017. I hadn't heard anybody push back or make an issue about what John MacArthur said until the content got to Caleb, which actually came through Noble Berean, and then Justin Peters saw his video, and I'm pretty sure he saw mine as well too, but he's not going to reach out to me because then he has to be held accountable for what he says. But anyway, he's definitely not making a statement because of you. Secondly, everyone who heard this knew what he was saying, and no one came away thinking he was supporting gay weddings. This dude is so delusional. It makes no sense whatsoever, but I'll continue. J Mac was speaking of the government because it was the big story at the time with the cake maker needing the Supreme Court to step in. You can find faults with J Mac on others, but not this. Amazing. The cognitive dissonance is real. But as God always does, he has a remnant of people that at one time didn't want to have anything to do with your content would distance themselves from your content, unfriend, unfollow, even some of them even block, unsubscribe. But God has a way of bringing them back. And this individual was one, gospel on the street. Same video, to bake or not to bake. He says, okay, you earned my resub. I had previously unsubbed from your channel due to the whole Corey Minor dust up. I thought all that occurred between you two was pretty ridiculous at the time, particularly airing the call. Y'all know that video. However, I came to realize that my unsub was premature and an error on my part after watching some more of your content over time. What was said needed to be said then concerning Corey and needs to be said concerning J Mac. You have done this without partiality. Maybe you go a little bit into overkill in the video count, LOL, but without partiality from what I can tell. Overall, you do make some valid points in your videos and seem to hit on some topics others may actively avoid. Now, whether people like the way you do it or not is beside the point. Yeah, sometimes even I think you go overboard, but that is not necessarily sin. Rather, it is style / technique and tone. So you are most definitely entitled to say what you need to say, and I appreciate that you stand on that. I can respect that as a man and as a Christian. As such, I don't feel I have to agree with you on every theological or exegetical point you make, and I don't, in order to glean the truth, especially when there are receipts. So I see now that your voice is definitely needed in these YouTube streets, doing what you do in order to point out hypocrisy, hold some people accountable, give a different perspective, and or expose the truth. This video was a prime example of that. Good job. He says, I've watched a few of your videos after I had previously unsubbed, especially the J Mac or Corey video, just out of sheer curiosity to see just how far down the rabbit hole things would eventually go. Because I asked him, first of all, I had thanked him for him reaching back and reaching out to me. And I asked him, I said, well, what made him, continue to watch my videos? And so he gives this response here. He says, concerning J Mac especially, I've always wondered why nobody really holds him accountable. Going all the way back to the whole Christians can take the mark of the beast and still be saved comment. The other stuff you brought up over time concerning him just drove home the point that some pastors, leaders may be held in too high esteem by others, possibly even idolatry of the man. The outcry concerning Alistair Begg is warranted since what he said was shameful and against the word of God. But like you alluded to, where was that same energy for J Mac? Personally, I don't know J Mac had flopped, on the baking a wedding cake for a gay wedding issue. So this was brand new to me. You brought irrefutable receipts. What you aired was him on tape saying one thing and then saying the exact opposite. And so I had asked him, had he seen the video of Corey and Virgil caping for him? And he said, no, he hadn't seen the Corey interview with Virgil, but he will. And that's what it's for, ladies and gentlemen. This is what, these are the people that I do. I can't make a person change their mind. God does that. But when he does it, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see. It's beautiful to behold. But when you have people like John MacArthur lead people into sin and error by giving them bad advice or ungodly counsel, just like Alistair Begg did, John MacArthur is no better. If anything, he's far worse because his influence is more vast and it's more broad and wider than Alistair Begg. And so when you have that kind of thing go on, what does it say about those who are standing? What does it say about those who have given up their lives or their businesses or their livelihood for the sake of biblical principles, for the sake of biblical truth, like these people here? Oregon, and all these links are in the video description. I'm not going to read them all here for the sake of time, but they're all in the video description, along with Brother Noble Berean's video as well. Please check them out. They are in the video description below as well. Oregon Christian bakers forced to pay $135,000 by Monday, or lien may be placed on home. Husband now works as a trash collector. This is the Sweet Cakes by Melissa. This is Aaron and Melissa Klein. What do you say about people like this, Corey? Virgil? They have now given up their business. Actually, they didn't give it up. It was taken from them because they were standing on biblical principles. It's a slap in their face to hear people like John MacArthur say, well, no, it's not a sin to bake a cake for a gay wedding and then try to compare that to serving them food at a restaurant. Or what about the Christian grandmother, florist, who was fined $1,000 in order to work gay weddings but refused to, says that she won't betray Jesus. And now the state threatens to take her home and business away. What about her? What do you say about her, Corey? Virgil? What do you say about Baronel Stutzman, who has more biblical convictions and standing on the biblical word of God and truth than you do, and Virgil does? I'm just going to read this one quote here. Your offer reveals that you really don't understand me or what this conflict is about. What are they talking about? Well, it said that they were giving her an offer, an option, that she pays the fine, and if she pays the fine, then she can keep her business. And she said, no, your offer reveals that you really don't understand me or what this conflict is about. It's about freedom, not money. I certainly don't relish the idea of losing my business, my home, and everything else that your lawsuit threatens to take from my family. But my freedom to honor God in doing what I do best is more important. Yeah, that part. That part. Or what about these judges, these North Carolina magistrates that don't have to perform gay weddings? They appealed their case. There were judges that decided they were not going to officiate any weddings. They refused to do that. They refused to do it. And one judge said this: it was something I had to do out of conscience. Former magistrate Bill Stevenson of Gaston County told NBC Charlotte affiliate in 2014, I felt like to perform the same-sex unions would be in violation of the Lord's command, so I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. What do you say about these people? That's all I want to know. You know, the ones that are standing on the wall, the ones that are standing for the truth. What do you say about those people? Just want to know. Kind of curious to that. I wanted to bring this brother on. I told him I was going to give him an opportunity to share his thoughts because he wanted to speak to some issues. And so, Brother JP, you got the link. Come on in. I'll go ahead and bring you in on the stream, and we'll go ahead and have a brief conversation if you're still in chat. And while I'm waiting for Brother JP, again, I want you all to understand that these kinds of statements that Corey and Virgil and others make in defending John MacArthur, that causes the division. When you have people that have greater platforms than I do refuse to address or respond to statements that John MacArthur makes, that says a lot about what they love and also about what they don't love. Because they love the approval of men more than they love the acceptance of God. This is the problem that I'm seeing go on in our churches today. Huge problem. Huge problem. So I'm not going to stop doing what God has called me to do. I'm going to continue to sound the alarm whenever or wherever I need to do that. And let the chips fall where they may, ladies and gentlemen. Simple as that. Simple as that. JP, if you're here, come on in, bro. Come on in. Give you about 2 more minutes. And if not, I'm going to shut it down. Where's JP? Somebody tell JP, where's he at? Waiting on brother JP. Let's see where you at, bro. Come on in. Come on in. I'm trying to text him over here now, too. Let's see. Yeah, I think so, too, because I'm about to leave. I wanted to give him an opportunity to come on in. He was talking at first. Let me see if I can try to call dude. See if he bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. We're live. We are live. Hopefully nobody has a problem.
Has been forwarded to voicemail.
Okay, come on, JP. Waiting on you. All right, let's see if he comes on in. All right, come on in, JP. I already sent you the link. Come on. I need you in the green room. Come on in. Ladies, I said, take your time. It's Friday. Okay. Just hit that link, and I'll bring you on in, sir. Yeah, I did. I sent him the link already. Let me try to send him again. Let's see. Lord have mercy. I put it in your inbox, JP. Same inbox I gave you before, but I'm putting it in there right now. There, it's that one. Look at your inbox. Look at your Facebook inbox. Click that link and come on. All right, y'all. Let's see if he comes on in. Let's see if he comes in. What you got, JP? All right, here we go. Let's see. Put him into assign you to that one. All right. There you go. What's going on? Why I got this double thing in the back?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. What's up, man?
No, yeah, I just wanted to say in regard to everything that you're a man that a lot of people do not like. And the reality is that you risked it all. You risked it all, man. Like when all of these guys had an opportunity to stand for something, they didn't do it because the cost was too high. And you said that I'm going to do the right thing. So you're a guy that lost all his opportunities. Everybody closed their doors. They slandered you. They said you were this. You said you were that. Are you perfect? No. Nobody's perfect. But the fact of the matter is that when everybody had the opportunity to come together and stand against the predatory actions or endorsements of MacArthur, no one did it, because if you attack MacArthur, you're pretty much blackballed. You pretty much lose it all. And so you're a guy that lost it all. Now, obviously, you still have your supporters or what have you, and you're still doing your thing.
Right.
But it's clear that they've blackballed you. They blackballed you. They put you aside and they slandered you. And they don't even give you any credence. It's like almost like, let's slander this guy so badly that no one would even listen to him if he ever says anything that's good or anything at all. And that's what this community has done. It's a shame. This is a guy that, John MacArthur, that literally turned his back on a young lady.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't want to even talk about the allegations because it's really troubling. And every time that I talk about it, it really gets me upset.
Yeah.
And then now on top of that, the icing on the cake, no pun intended, is that, yeah, the icing on the cake is now this, like you literally displayed the articles,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
People are losing their lives, and still these people are, I mean, Smart Christians channel, man. I mean, this guy's a coward. He don't got heart. He had heart, and it's like I've said before, somebody gave him a phone call. This is how it works. And I know because, I'm not, listen, I'm not to brag, but in the charismatic circles,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a pretty popular guy. I don't say, it is what it is. And I've made videos before that I've gotten phone calls from very, very high people. Yo, JP, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that. And I'd be like, get the heck out of my face. I'll come after you next. And that's why I've lost a lot of the opportunities I've had. So you displayed the articles, you showed the proof, you showed the receipts. These guys are cowards. I didn't hear. That's like if somebody were to be like, oh, JP, remember when you talked to Seiko? Yeah, I read the comment section. Yeah, but Seiko and you said that blah blah blah. Oh, I don't remember that. I don't remember talking to Seiko.
Mm-hmm.
It never happened.
Yeah.
Like the amount of gaslighting. I mean, that was obvious gaslighting. Oh yeah, Seiko, I read the comments. I see what your views are. Oh no, I never heard of that before. I don't know what you're talking about. And then you get blocked. I mean, the gaslighting, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It really, really is crazy. And all the low-hanging fruit that these people are doing. I mean, you inspired me to do a live on Sunday because what Corey has done, which is making a platform off of low-hanging fruit like this.
Yeah.
I mean, brother, you've had your chances to attack deliverance ministers. You've had your chances to attack Joel Osteen. You've had your chances to attack Creflo Dollar. You've had your chances to attack Michael Todd, and your chances to attack this other guy, this loon ball. What's the loon ball? There's Michael Todd and the other loon ball.
I can't remember that guy's name.
The glasses. I forgot his name. The guy that's always saying something outrageous now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the chat will remember. I can't see the chat.
If y'all remember in the chat, y'all put it in the chat. We can probably populate, but I forgot the guy's name.
Yeah. He's the one that's doing the podcast now. He always has some crazy hot take. Tim Ross.
Okay, Ross. See. Okay.
Tim Ross. You've had your chances to make videos on Tim Ross. You don't because they're low-hanging fruit. It doesn't mean that you can't.
Right.
But you don't make a ministry out of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? These guys have made ministries calling themselves watchmen by literally attacking low-hanging fruit. And then when you get an opportunity to bring true justice, you don't do it. That's disrespectful to that lady that lost her business, that lady that's going to probably lose her house. And this is going to continue to happen. And if you have leaders like MacArthur who are MacArthur will be gone in 5 years anyways. You don't got much life left. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I think the reform community is hoping. They're saying he's about to die anyways. If he dies, then what can we do? He's dead.
Right.
So let's just push this and push this and push this. And if we keep pushing this, he'll die. And once he dies, what are we going to do, Seiko? He's dead. You're going to hold us accountable for a dead man? He died. Oh, you know what, Seiko? Had he been alive, maybe I would have took what you said into consideration.
Yeah.
Too bad he's gone now. You see?
Maybe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's the games that
I was going to ask you a question while I got you here. So I mean, you've caught some flack by having me on your channel. You want to speak to that? Anything you want to speak to or
let me address the mob. Let me address the mob. I was trying. Let's get something straight here. There's a guy from he's not a part of the mob, but we're not gonna say any names. There's a guy that made a video on me threatening me, saying that I got receipts. That you on the DL helped me take Seiko down. I sent Seiko the whole joints.
Yeah.
We laughed together. We laughed. We was laughing. I said, Seiko, take all of this. Brother, do you think that I would get offended if Seiko was on a group chat talking about me? Brother, I'm charismatic. What is Seiko gonna do? And he's a Calvinist. What I'm gonna do? We don't agree. If Seiko goes, oh, JP's a clown, he don't know what he's talking about, he has bad exegesis. Do you see what I be writing about Calvinists on my Facebook?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's who cares? We're not soft. We don't care if Seiko says, yo, JP's a clown in a group chat with Reform people. We're grown men.
Right.
You ever play ball? We say much worse things playing
yeah,
basketball than what we would. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And then that's it. We Seiko, we dap it up, we keep it pushing. So what? You're Reform. I don't agree, whatever. I said what I said. You said what I said. I sent them all the receipts. All of them. I said, yo, bro, take a look at all of this. Because now we have people who are upset that I didn't blackball Seiko.
Right.
So they're going, oh, JP, I'm showing you mercy. I have all the receipts. Well, buddy, too late. I sent them all to Seiko anyways. Now what do you have in my head?
Right.
Now what do you have in my head? You don't have anything. And then homie's going to say, oh, I got recorded phone calls. Brother, you live in a 2 consent state. If you leak any phone calls, you going to jail. You see, Seiko can record all the phone calls he likes because Seiko only lives in a 1 consent state.
Yep.
You, my friend, do not live in a 1 consent state. You live in a 2. So the minute I hear a leaked phone call, brother, I'm going to do a report, brother, on your local police station, brother. The minute I hear my voice where I didn't agree, video call, phone call, anything, on top of the cases you have already. You know who I'm talking about too.
Right.
I ain't make any video responses because I don't want to exterminate your career. This guy hit me up 40 text messages, bro. Back, I sent you everything.
Yeah, he did the same thing to Dan. He did the same thing to Dan.
Back to back. And then he threatened me. Oh, I'm going to release receipts. You know I'm showing you mercy, blah, blah, blah. I didn't respond to anything. I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything because I don't take that guy serious.
Right.
And if I were to want to do something, it'd go very ugly. Because all the people he thinks support him really support me. Because all the little and first off, he's buying numbers. The math ain't mathing.
Now you said it. Now, clarify that because that was the accusation saying that that his numbers that he has that I was saying that those are not his numbers. I'm like, well, dude, they're not. You've already told people you pay for your numbers. You pay for your base.
So when it comes to Facebook, you could buy legitimate ads. Right. That is true. You could buy ads. But it's not that you're actually generating those numbers yourself.
Right.
So it's not because you have support, it's because you bought said ads, and then as a result, now you have random folks that have no idea what the hell the video is about watching your video.
Mm-hmm.
On YouTube, this is how this works. On YouTube, ads are very expensive. We're looking at hundreds of dollars for just 1,000 views or 2,000 views, if I'm not mistaken. Which means that you're going to have to probably go to a baloney website. And what a lot of these dudes do is that they buy views, they buy likes, and then guess what the problem is? I send Seiko videos all the time from people that make videos in general. They got 2, 5, 10, 11, 12, 15,000 views and 100 likes and 2 comments. But just 2 days ago, you had 100 views. And you had two likes and you had 1 comment. How is it that the next day you jumped 10,000 views? Right. The math ain't mathing. You know what I'm saying? Now, fellas, if y'all made it, let me say this, Seiko. If y'all made it a little bit less obvious, where it's like, okay, you had 100 today, 200 tomorrow, 300, and then maybe 400. Hey, maybe he got 25 views in one day, maybe 50, and then another 100, and then another 100. You'd be like, he got 800 views. 25. Okay, you know what? But you can't go from 100 views to 25,000.
Come on, man. Come on.
The math ain't mathing.
Right.
And so what this particular guy did is that he has 2,000 views on his video. Plus, he removed all the like features. So if you go to the video now, he removed the likes so nobody can like, and he removed the comments. So now there's no way to notice how legitimate his views are, because the way you can tell is by the likes. And if somebody buys likes, you can also tell that way. So all of this is displayed, and you can really tell if you're an experienced YouTuber. So this guy, you don't got to tell nobody. Those 2.2 thousand views that he has, those are all bought. They're bought. They're not real. They're not real.
Okay.
So that's what the deal is with these guys. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah.
That's what the deal is. And I show mercy. You know what I'm saying, bro? I'm not down for the wars and the battles. People are upset because I didn't blackball you. Why would I blackball you? I have a platform that's open to all people. If you have an issue with Seiko, confront him.
I've even offered. I even offered to go on your channel. I say, man, look. I mean, you know, people should be safe to come on your channel. I mean, they're not gonna come on mine, obviously, but they can come on my channel. I mean, on your channel rather. And I did that. Matter of fact, I did that with Christian Road Runner, i.e., Christian Road Warrior. But he tried to accuse you or Xerix of trying to ambush. Matter of fact, this other guy said that we ambushed him. Didn't ambush him. My name was being constantly mentioned, and I pulled up on your channel.
Now, it's an open platform. This is what people got to understand. It's an open platform. As soon as I say I'm opening up the chats, anybody can come in. I was going to say the devil himself can come in, and we're going to rebuke him right out. It's an open channel.
Yeah.
Hindus, Muslims, atheists, Satanists, anybody can come on. You're going to get pushback because other people will come on. It's an open platform, not a church.
Right.
If you feel like somebody is out of line or they're a castaway or something like that, come on and prove it.
Right.
Then you have people saying, oh, I'm going to get Seiko arrested because Seiko, Seiko is.
I have a fake ID. Matter of fact, I'm a female. I have a fake ID. The person said that I'm not who I say I am. I've been living a fraudulent life, a fake identity for over 30 years. This is all factual. These are all true statements that this guy has said. Not true that I'm a faker, but the guy put a picture up of somebody with the name Seiko Kenyatta Woods, and it was a female. Not my age. I'm 53. I'll be 54 in October. But this person, he's going around telling people that I'm a fraud and that they're contacting the FBI. Ladies and gentlemen, I've served 4 years in the military. I'm a veteran. You know, my information, pretty much, if the FBI or anybody wants to know where I'm at, they won't go through this individual to get me. They could have gotten me 30 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So why would they wait to get with these clowns in order to do a raid on my home or to come at me and quote unquote expose me? But this is how this is how serious the hate is. And again, you know, I brought you on because you wanted to, you know, basically, you know, share what's been on your mind and what's been bothering you. And brother, I feel you, man. I feel you. You know, again, the challenge is open for anybody. If they want me, if they want to have a debate or whatever, and they're thinking that I'm a false teacher and all that kind of stuff, like, you know, like Christian Road Warrior did, because I know he's watching. They all watch my stuff, but why watch if you're not going to pull up? I mean, I just don't understand that.
And that's what I'm saying. I corresponded with a couple of these guys, and there are people that are saying, oh, yeah, you know, when the issue started, I was neutral.
Yeah.
I was neutral. And neutral wasn't good enough. They kept pushing me and pushing me and pushing me and pushing me to now where we have people making videos of me, threatening me that I'm going to release this. Let me give y'all some advice to everybody that's watching this channel. The minute you have a clown that threatens you because they think they have something on you, whatever they think they have on you, get rid of it. Because the minute that you get rid of it, they no longer have power. They no longer have power. So the man said, oh, you did this. You helped me with Seiko. You plotted it. Sent Seiko. We laughed. Me and Seiko was laughing.
Right.
We laughed. And if somebody sends me something of Seiko, oh, Seiko JP, Seiko made fun of you because, you know, you believe in the Pentecostal view. Oh, that's crazy. That's funny. You know what I'm saying? That's
right.
it.
Right.
We keep it pushing. We keep it pushing, brother. We
Right.
like at the end of the day, life is too short. You know what I'm saying? I done things that I'm not proud of. Perhaps Seiko done things he's not
No
proud of.
doubt. No doubt.
Life goes on. You know what I'm saying? I know
Right.
Catholics. I know Calvinists. I know Pentecostals. We all come at each other. It's part of the business. It just is what it is. If I'm not reformed, I'm gonna come at reform. If you're not Pentecostals, they'll come at the reformers. If you're Catholic, they're gonna come at you. If you're reformed, you're gonna come at the Catholics. It just is what it is. We
Right.
all hope to be in heaven and laugh about this one day.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you guys think? I'm gonna curse Seiko out because I mean this is ridiculous. We're grown men. I'm not soft. Seiko's not soft. A lot of y'all are effeminate. That's what it is. A lot of
Period.
y'all are feminine.
Period.
Oh, so and so said this behind my back. My feelings are hurt. Oh, well, brother, that's too bad. That's too bad.
For real.
I mean,
For real.
that's it. So that clears the air. Don't
Yeah.
send me no Seiko receipts. I don't care if Seiko said he thinks I'm a heretic. I don't care. Don't send me nothing.
Well, you already know how I move anyway. You already know how if I got something to say to you, I'm gonna say it to you. Or if it's said publicly, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's fair game. But yeah, these people don't have nothing, man.
Correct. Whatever you said in private, you told me in public multiple times.
Right.
And you said it on video and on live stream.
Right.
So it's just is what it is. Where's Reamer? He's.
Oh yeah, he's in the chat. I'm about to get him later on because I just wanted to bring you on before I wrapped it up because I know you wanted to share your thoughts about what's been going on.
Man, I want to see Reamer, man. I want to see Reamer.
You can bring him on later, bro. I'm not. I'll never get off. I'll never get off. I'll get him on later another time.
Well, now you know, bro. Now you know the deal, man. And I'm glad that you answered the allegations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, you got people, bro. Everybody says they got stuff on you. Nobody's coming forward. And I really hope that he really got legal things on you the way that he claimed. Because if he don't, and time is ticking, he's gonna be the biggest clown on the internet.
Well, he's already the biggest. He already is. I mean, because they don't have
anything. He's gonna be a bigger clown.
Yeah.
Because whatever he has it better stick. And that's my.
Yeah, he don't. I appreciate it, man.
All right, man.
All right, peace, man. All right, y'all. That was Brother JP. Just wanted to bring him on. He wanted to share his heart, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the love and the support and the encouragement. Because God, listen, y'all, God has a remnant, and that's why, again, if you know what God has called you to do, yes, it's encouraging. It's a blessing to have people to give you your flowers topside. But listen, at the end of the day, man, if you're doing this for likes, if you're doing this for follows, if you're doing this for subscribers and all this other kind of stuff, you're gonna tap out. You're gonna tap out way before you start. And so you have to know what you know and stand on that. So I'm encouraged. I appreciate it, and I thank God for you all, and thank God for what He has called me to do. I had put up a poll question, and I asked the question: do you believe Corey Minor and Virgil Walker are sinning by being partial or biased toward John MacArthur? 70% of you said absolutely, James 2:1. 30% said absolutely not. And I put up Hebrews 13:7, and I put that up there just to see if people are going to actually read the verse, because Hebrews 13:7 has nothing to do with John MacArthur. Nothing. Not in supporting Christian bakers to bake cakes for gay weddings. But 30% of you said absolutely not, that they're not being partial or biased toward John MacArthur. So that just goes to show you where people's discernment is, right? But anyway, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Just wanted to share this information with you all, and wanted to put this information out there because there needed to be a response. And I believe anytime statements like this on platforms like Corey and others that have influence to lead people astray and into sin and deception, it needs to be responded to. So, but please like, subscribe, and share. Please support this video, support this ministry. We do appreciate it. Keeps us to continue doing what we're called to do. And I thank you for that as well. If you'd like to support this ministry, you can do so by clicking the donation links below. You can go to the link information there. Cash App, Zelle, as you see ticking across the screen, Venmo as well. Or if you choose to use the Super Chat, again, Super Chat We don't see those gifts until the following revenue cycle. And so just wanted to inform you all of that in case you would like to have your gifts expedited through the other support means below. BCV merchandise, you can go to the BCV store and you can support our ministry by purchasing BCV merchandise there. The store is up and running for a while. It was down. We had to change some things around, and so we have it up. It's been up for almost a year now. So thank God for that, and we thank you for supporting it. Love, Life, and Marriage with the Woods. If y'all have not subscribed, go over there and subscribe to that channel. And you are missing out. We're going to be doing some more content as well. And thank you all for joining us on the live that my wife and I did in the reaction video that we did. If you haven't seen the reaction video that we did with Monique and Shannon Sharp, we did a reaction video. Go over there, check it out. We would love to hear your thoughts and your words and perspective as well too. So we do appreciate that. Facebook family, thank you for joining. Thank you all over there, Brother Freddie and John and others. Appreciate you all. YouTube family, thank you for joining. YouTube moderators, thank y'all for holding it down as always. I do appreciate that. Y'all help me to do what I do well. And so I appreciate the support and appreciate the love. But that is my time, y'all. Thank you all so much for yours. I'm out of here. You all have a great day, great weekend, great Lord's Day. Y'all know the drill. Whatever you do, do all to the glory and honor of God. God bless.
Thank you for sharing this night. God bless you. Good night.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.
It's over! It's over, ladies and gentlemen!
Mama, I love you. P.O.P. all the time. Right, these are good pimp squad, baby.
All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.